This is my 1984 Camaro that my buddy Ken helped me source way out east. Unfortunately, the previous owner did pass away, and it sat in a garage under a cover for 27 years. I did get this thing running, and I drove it 800 miles home, where it immediately broke down in my driveway. Great. Over the next couple days, I'm going to see if I could bring this car back around and turn it into a going-to-town rig for a guy. Going to start off by cleaning up some of the rust on this, see if I can cut and buff the rest of the paint, blend everything in, clean up the interior a little bit, and then of course get to the engine, see if we get that fired up and running again, put this thing back on the highway. I'm Derek, welcome to Vice Grip Garage. So if you're newer to the channel, you probably don't recognize this Camaro here, so I'm going to shoot you some information on it. This actually came as a package deal. There was an old Chevelle sitting next to it, beautiful, light blue. I did get that running for my buddy, and he's got that, and we ended up making a deal for this one here, and it did not want to come out of the garage. We had to use a come-along and chains and straps, and we fought pretty much a whole afternoon. I ended up putting all new rotors, calipers, pads, bearings, hoses, basically entire front end on this thing. But I didn't really have to do much to the engine. If I remember right, I pretty much just leaned in, cranked it over, and she fired right up, which was nice. We drained the fuel tank and did a couple other little things. But right when I got in the driveway, if I remember right, I threw a belt, check engine light was coming on, and it wouldn't stay idling. Had to keep it 2,500, 3,000. So I've got some dirty sensors up here. I'm sure the carburetor is just plugged up, so I'm going to have to get to that as well. But I'm going to start with the paint on this because I need to convert on the rust before I can start doing anything else. So I'm going to have to kind of jump around a little bit on this one so I can get this done as quickly as possible. We'll walk around it again and I'll kind of show you guys what I want to fix on this thing. And it has actually, as far as the rust goes, it's progressed. It's sitting in dry storage, which is unfortunate. Wonder if I got ignition sticks. Oh, 3 sets. That's fine. So this car is actually sold. A subscriber and I went back and forth 1,972.4 times. I think one's still sitting in my drafts folder. But I sold it as is, so non-running, just like this, all the junk in it, come and get it kind of deal. But here's the thing. I made a promise to the previous family that I was going to do something with this and make the previous owner proud. So I've got to follow through with that. I'm going to lose money pretty near significantly, but it feels good in the old TikToker. But that being said, I do want to try to keep costs down on this. Just make it, go to the bingo hall, shoot down to Ace Hardware. Can I sneak in, get a 6-pack, head home, right? So the paint, we're just going to be quick on it, just get some shine on it. Same with the rust repair, not go too crazy on the interior. And just make it to where this feller can roll it up on his trailer, and when he gets it home, he can go crazy. And I know it's going to a good home, so that also feels good. So I'm going to show you real quick this rust that's starting on here. It's she's sneaking in. I put this old girl away nice and clean on the exterior. And of course, good old Minnesota pulling it over here today. Bunch of salt stains, mud, gravel, you name it. Just a reminder, fellers, stop drawing in your paint. My goodness gracious, I cringe when I see that. And don't wipe it off like that, especially on base clear systems. You're just putting a bajillion 11-9er scratches in this stuff. So I'm going to do the right thing here and just wipe it off. Since I'm going to be polishing on it anyway, we'll bring the shine back. But this is that rust I'm talking about. It wasn't this bad when I picked it up. This has really progressed, and you can actually see the new flaking paint here, all the way down there. And then there's this brand new door bubble right about there. We're going to have to take a look at that. some coming around this fender here. And what's kind of odd is it's only the drinker's side, if I remember correctly. This side's not too bad. Over here, yeah, see this one, fairly decent, maybe a little down there. There is a little bit starting here. It's bubbling. I don't think it's all the way through yet. But I want to start on the rust because I need to sand this out and get that rust converter on it so we can, you know, flip her over. And that's got to dry before I can get the primer on it and then get in here and do that stuff. So guy's going to be jumping around a little bit today, but that's what I got to do to get this thing done in a couple days. So let me go get the DA and we're just going to start digging out this rust. Being I'm keeping costs down on this, I'm not going to be cutting out and patching in anything or doing any Bondo or any of that. I just want to stop it where I can and then just slow this down until the next owner can decide what he wants to do. So I'm just going to hit it with 100 grit, follow up with 400 grit, kind of just smooth it in. And I'm going to put this Duplicolor Rust Fix on there, and that's paintable, sandable, all of that. So once that dries, then I'll come over with this filler and primer. We'll kind of blend that in a little bit. And then I had this can mixed up. This is medium dark royal blue poly. And what I did was I just ripped a chunk of rust that had paint on it, took it into a store here called Welly Auto, and I got a little digital bleep boop thing that you stick on there and it goes bit a little bit, and this comes out of the end of it, I guess. And that should be close-ish. And then once that's done, then we'll come back and I'll show you some product that I'm going to try to use and try to blend in the with the paint that's on here. And you could probably see this line on the hood, maybe-ish, where there was a bra on there. And my goal is, can a guy just take that shine and just, can we get it up, bring it into here? Can we take this and just make it all of this at the same time, kind of blend? And that's going to be good. Got this really old, dry pinstripe on here, unfortunately, which is going to be a pain polishing around. It's going to want to just rip this off. And it goes all the way up around here. By the way, isn't this louver cool? Man, that just screams 80s. Keeping it on there. Rest of the car is in really good shape though. I mean, there's not really any dents or body damage or anything like that. So it should clean up pretty darn good, I'm hoping. And the interior is in really good shape for the age. This is going to be super simple to clean up. Vacuum it out, wipe it down a little bit. This is the guy's, I think he had, yeah, repair manuals, receipts. All of this is going to go with the car as well. There's my light bulb for the garage. Dang it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. We got positive flappage. Oh no. Stop. Just stop. Uh-oh. Got some sort of karate lug nut on here. There's just things coming off of it all different directions. That ain't working. Don't remember, why is that? I don't remember putting that on there. Need the grease on them. Let's see if I got one of those adapters. Wow. Where's the guy? Put his gloves in this thing. Surely it can't. Oh, look at that. Well, I'll be dipped. The wrong one. Well, let me spend 15 months looking for this now. Well, I brought this all the way up into our teeth here so we can see on it a little better. And this is the hardest part, is learning when to shut her down before you get too far in it on these little touch and goes. This here has a hole down here. It's rusted through here, and then there's a hole back here as well. And I so badly want to just cut this out and patch it because it's not that difficult, but not my project and it's not financially practical for me. So I'm gonna stop grinding and sanding on her here and just let that be for now. I did suspect that this car was a respray, and it is. You can see the original blue there, primer, then blue again. I guess here's a better view. So it was painted. Being it was parked in 03, I would probably say late 90s, mid to late 90s would make sense. Little Bondo here, but whoever did it did a pretty good job. There's no overspray on any of the lenses. That usually means they took out all of the lights and plastics and everything like that. A little Bondo under here that they could have taken out a little bit better. And then they put a rubber undercoating on this from this body line down that clearly did nothing. You could probably already tell I started wiping it down with the spray away and a soft cotton rag. The good news is when I washed this with an automatic, that did, you know, basically nothing other than waste $8. And all this salt and dirt is over top of like a black lichen, lichen, I'm not sure. It's weird. But the spray away is doing a good job getting all that off. And underneath that is quite a bit of shine yet. So I think we're gonna really be able to get this thing just sparkling up. I gotta dig into this side, get this rust kind of stripped down. And I wanna prep all this so when that's drying, we'll bring this back down to ground level again. And I gotta get that fuel make it happener going and get this thing running. Because the garage door guy that came out the other day with the motor brought the wrong motor. Now he's coming back again to bring another motor, try to get all that put in. So this has to be running. Whatever now is plus more equals late tonight before tomorrow morning early. And then we can come back and get to the paint again on this thing. Which now that I'm looking at it, I might not have to cut it. I might be able to just buff the thing. Finding a couple dings in here over on this one door in particular, there's gotta be at least 612 dents. All right here, just in a row. I don't know if you guys can see those, but they're all in the same exact height, which means same car. So I'm thinking Dad brought the car home, Mom gets out with her 39-pound purse, bangs it off the door, and that happened for a few years. I could be wrong, but I'm not. Well, guy reckons it's about that time. I'm gonna throw on this Duplicolor Rust Fix here. 2 to 3 coats. I'm gonna throw one on now while she's up in the teeth, and then when I'm messing around with the fuel make it happen in a bit, guy can just mosey around and spritz on another 1 to 2 coats. Sure. Yep. Rust defense activated. Oh, forgot about this. No, I didn't. Wonder what Mark Chestnut's doing today. Well, let's get this power barn open and see if I can remember where I was at. It's pretty bad when you got enough rigs you don't even know where your own stuff is sitting. I forgot about this already. The old hood propulator 4000 XL. Get that in there. Is that pine? Bamboo. My mistake. What do we got? 2.8 horses. All right, where's the air cleaner lid? I don't know. Here's the wing nut though. Let's put that over there while I remember it. Nope. Got leavage in here. Oh, yeah. So I've already been digging into this one. I've got 1, 2, C, Quattro, 5. There's vacuum hoses and stuff's unplugged, and this is the worst of it. Basically, any mechanic's worst nightmare is picking up where somebody else left off. In this case, it's mine, which means nothing is going to make sense. I just started unplugging everything on the top of the engine. No idea what I was trying to do. But I'm going to have to just low crawl back in here. For some reason, the fuel make it happener is an easy 6.5 feet from the front of the car here. So maybe I could just lay down, actually. That doesn't sound bad. But I got to try to figure out how to get this alien looking carb. I think this is the ES2E or something like that. E2D2, R2D2, ET. I think that's what it is. No, but that's got to come out. I know that's plugged, and there is a belt on it. So I guess I must have put the belt on the following morning before I shoved her into storage. Not sure. Doesn't sound like me. This is going to be more work than I bargained for, I think. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Then it's gonna hook in. Just imagine being a dealer mechanic in the 80s. What is going on in here? Look at, what is that thing? I don't know. There's more over here. There's stuff back there. There's like flexi pipe hoses. I got little things and these hose things. Something blue. That can't be good. Anyway, if you can even see where this thing bolts down currently, you're doing way better than I am. So I'm gonna go get a blanket or something, lay it down here. The old Gut Buster 100 is laying up. That way I could just, and then I'm just gonna figure out and just start taking stuff apart. I don't know. Maybe we do an in the car rebuild. Doesn't work. Okay, back to trying to take it out. I guess I don't know. Well, what is this thing now? I'm not sure. Why are there so many rods in here? That's clearly lost forever. Great. Is this another tube? Star Trek. What does this one do now? Tube technology. I have had it up to here. I just never seen such a design as this. I'm about ready to I'm ready to lose that patience. I'm there. Listen, I don't know why you're doing this to me. Okay, whoever designed this, I want them audited. I said it. I'm not taking it back. I do. Full on audit. I'll teach you how to come off of here then. Okay. I think I need to change my plan here. Top of the carb's off. It was really easy. Just a couple screws. Comes right off. Got some leavage in here. Also the floats were stuck. Pretty sure the fuel filter on the carb's just plugged down. On 84 2/8, they didn't have a filter tray in line all the way up to the fuel make it happener, because that makes sense. I got a battery on the floor hooked with battery cables to the battery in the car because the battery in the car was dead. But my battery charger won't charge a dead battery, because apparently how to use battery chargers is confusing enough people to where they don't even put out voltage now until they see voltage. Just help me. What's a good charger? Help me understand that one. Well, this thing is one of the dirtiest I've seen in a while. Lots of sediment and other stuff in there. There's some miscellaneous parts in there. There's not a rubber seal left in this, and I'm sure all the passageways are plugged. Needle and seat are very, very worn. Those definitely need placed. The filter is probably about 91.82% plugged. Could barely blow through that. Oddly enough, the accelerator pump is decent-ish, but we'll fix that up anyway. Gaskets are in really bad shape so far. This kit, thankfully, seems to be the right one. So I'm just going to start going through this thing and replace everything. Set the floats. See if we can get her dialed back in. And I've got there's probably 6 or 7 different levers over here that I gotta figure them out again. Got some Hank Senior ripping. This is going pretty good. Tanked it once. Now just kind of getting into some of the smaller pieces. Got the pump discharge retainer off. The spring just went that way, but ball rolled out. Look at this pile of sediment that came out of here. And that's after I'd already flushed it. So there is a ton of stuff in this thing. Wanted to show you guys this quick. This is the accelerator pump lever here, and it has 2 functions on this carburetor. Most typically just have one, which is when you get in the old throttle and put your foot through the firewall. That depresses here, and of course that runs your pump. This gives you your shot. Well, this one has a second one over here, and what that's doing is running this TPS, or throttle position sensor, and this little guy here goes up and down as you're hitting the throttle. And what this does is it sends information, bleep bloops it over to a computer, and that bleep bloops information back to the mixture control solenoid, which is this guy that sits over here, something like that. And basically the position of this tells this to either richen or lean up the fuel mixture. So they kind of work in tandem there. And I got to thinking late last night, might as well check on all the digitals here, because this particular unit is completely dependent on this. And then of course the oxygen sensor is on the back end, making sure that the mixture is correct. So I've got this one, I'm just ohming it out. This should be sitting at right around 10 or 11.
And as you can see, this is bouncing all over the place. It's like me at the donut shop. Just can't make up my mind. And as I depress this, it should decrease the resistance and go to about a 2 or a 3. This just shuts off. If I go half, still have nothing. If I go all the way open, I got nothing else now. So now it's pretty much completely dead. So basically this was sending a bunch of crazy signals and this guy was not keeping up. So that's most likely why she wasn't idling, and probably a big part of the bogging when a guy would stick his foot in it, why she wasn't giddying up and going. I'm gonna plug in the new one quick just so you can see what it should be doing. So this would be at idle. You can see here we've got a pretty consistent reading. And then as I depress this, that's gonna come on down more and more and more. And then this would be wide open throttle way down here, low to mid 2s. So this one is working correctly. So word of the wizards, check your digitals before you put these fuel make it happeners in. This would have been a mess for me. I would have had to disassemble all the levers and whatever else here and unhook a bunch of hoses and get this whole top off just to get this out because it slides in underneath the top here. I'll get this done and get this back in quick. I don't think I need to show you guys that process. Basically a bunch of bleeping and blooping.
Getting ready to lay down the old primer and paint on this. I've already taped off the areas that I don't want to get any primer or paint, and I've already prepped it, so I'm pretty much ready to go. For paint prep, smaller jobs like this, you actually can use spray-away glass cleaner because it's got a hefty amount of ethyl alcohol in it, and that actually cleans areas pretty good. If that makes you nervous, just get some Ace of Base sauce or something like that. On a single stage or an enamel paint like this, it's important because our color is going to be coming up into the previous color. So if you don't want fish eyes and a bunch of different things going on, your surface has got to be really clean. Also, before you start spraying, it's important to understand what kind of paint you got. Is it single stage or is it a 2-stage base clear? Because that's going to determine how you try to blend on it here. If this was a base clear, for example, we would sand all of the clear coat off all the way up into this panel, lay our primer down on the bare surface, get our color in, sand or color sand our base down, then that clear we'd come all the way up into here and then polish it out. It's different with single stage. We got to just make sure that our color, our new color, exceeds our lap of primer, because when we sand it, we don't want it to be old paint, new primer, new paint. There'd be a ridge or a ribbon. So just get your primer only where you need it, and then we'll paint quite a ways past that so we can blend it in. Also, if a guy's going to be really picky and you really want this to match for some reason, make sure you get the same color primer. That's going to help your colors actually match. I've seen a lot where older cars have like a brown or black primer. Fellers put on a white or gray primer, then they go to try to paint match it and their color is brighter. Well, it's the primer underneath that's affecting the base color. So keep that in mind. I'm going to shake up the cans, just touch up the whole car with primer real quick. Then I'll bring you in, kind of show you where we're at. Once that dries, we'll sand that out and finally get the color.
So this is what 2 very light coats look like here. And the more you let this dry between coats here, fellers, the faster you can get into sanding. So just let it do its thing. I know you just want to get in there and get it done, but patience is a virtuality or something like, I don't know. Anyway, over here I wanted to show you, see all this overspray up into here? Don't worry about that. We're going to come back and fix it. Just focus on getting coverage where you need that primer. And I already tested a panel right here. You can see that that's significantly shinier than the rest. I wanted to see what a little bit of wet sanding and polish did to this paint, and it brings it around. It's nothing super impressive, but this is going to give us a base to blend all this back down into. So about 5 more minutes, and then I'll come back and hit this with another coat, probably a little bit heavier of a coat. Let that set up, and then we'll get to sanding. Sprayed her up this way kind of as a demonstration. Doesn't matter on this one because, well, there's rust and pinholes everywhere and stuff, but when you dig something down to metal like this, although it feels smooth to touch, there's quite a variance between the existing product and the bare metal. So if you just paint broadly and color it broadly, you're going to see those lines. They're tough to measure, but they're there, believe you me. So this way, if you try to just follow where you brought her down to metal, and what you're doing is building back up those layers, so in this case 3 layers, so when we get color on here, we have a better chance of blending it into the existing color, and hopefully we won't see all those lines too baddish. Drying pretty quick, actually.
There's a lift there. Broke a light. Guy's jumping around a little bit. Hang on. I just get ants in my boots if I'm just standing around, literally watching paint dry. So I'm going to come up here to the hood, and I'm going to get this ready for buffing. And basically last night, late, this morning maybe even, not sure. Anyway, I tested a bunch of different compounds, cutting, buffing, different applications like wool pads, different foam pads, you name it. And I try to avoid using wool pads at all costs because it just gets wool, and I'm talking pounds of lanolin. It's in the air, your mouth. You'll never get it off your clothes. You'll find it inside of vehicles that were parked outside for 2 months. So what I came down to is the roof, deck lid, and hood. I'm actually going to wet sand with a 1500, and then I'll come back with it's more of a cutting compound with a soft polishing foam pad. And that combination seems to get the scratches out and gives us pretty much the maximum shine we're going to get out of this old lazy single stage. Not going to do the whole car because, again, time is money. But the areas that you're going to look at on this car, at least from my perspective, your eyeballs are going to shoot down the front, the hood, and you're immediately going to hit the sail panel and quarter panel. And that's pretty typical for any car. Think about Cudas, first-gen Camaros, you name it. You're looking at the front quick, and then you're looking at those awesome rear ends. Hot soapy water is best to use as a lubricant. Soak your sandpaper first, get your surface nice and wet, and that way she lubricates when you're grinding in. Again, I don't have running water. I'm just going to use Sprayway. I've done it before, works great. Not only does it lubricate, but it's going to clean as I go. Where did my air hose go? Wow, come here.
I got not so good news here. I just did a real quick once over so I could stop and see where I'm at. And unfortunately, this has got the dreaded dragon scales just everywhere in here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably. It's pretty advanced. And I'm talking holding 2 beers down a stadium stairs advanced. Nothing I'm going to be able to do to bring this paint around. That's from typically poor paint prep when they put the color on over the primer, whoever sprayed it. So what's there is there basically. I'm just going to quick match this side so at least when we buff it, it'll match. But it's not going to be shiny by any means. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Primer is almost ready to get sanded on, which is nice. We can get that color on and get that drying. Then we can move on to the interior, which I'm pretty excited to see how well that turns out, being it's in such good condition right now. So now that this is dry here, first thing I'm going to do is take some Ace Frehley sauce, just soak a rag down like this, and then start up top, and we're just going to work our way down just a little bit towards the paint. And that's going to take all this overspray, the light stuff off, like that. You can kind of see that line now. There we go. Don't work it too hard down into the primer. Now when we get it like this, now I'm going to come over with some right around 1500 grit sandpaper, dry, and I'm just going to blend this in kind of this way down. Get this nice and blended. Well, she's ready to paint. By the way, I changed my mind. I switched it to 600 grit because I don't know how well that aerosol is going to adhere. I'm just going to get it all done quick. Nice even coats, fellers. Take it easy.
Just going to do a little test spray here. Good to go. Real light coats. First coat's always the most important. Guy needs her to bite in, hang on to something. So you don't get all them runs, you know. Just got the paint about as far as a guy can take it. I'll show you the whole car here in a minute, but now that I got it buffed out, we've got a layer on here that hasn't had any elements on it yet. So you want to seal that up, some sort of wax polish. I'm going to use this spray away ceramic wax that contains silica. So that's going to create a hard coat protective barrier on here. Super easy to use. Shake it up. Just spray and wipe. This is going to take me probably a good half hour, 45 minutes, and then we'll move on to the interior, get that cleaned. Get to the interior! Barely any room. I don't know if you just heard that, but guy's mullet just grew 5/10 of an inch. What is this thing actually? Oh, the antenna. I'll be dipped. Nothing back here but some leaves. Smells like mashed potatoes. Never mind, this is just my beard. She vacuumed up real good, and I'm talking 12 of 8. It's up there. Being she's cloth, not much to do there, but I'm going to take this interior detailer high gloss and hit all the plastics, including the dash here. Hits. Oh, I made it. I'll be dipped. I ain't kidding, fellers. I think we'd be hard pressed to find a cleaner interior on a 3rd gen. This thing is really nice. Regret level 9,000. Oh, back just went. Yep. Ooh, get this one down here. Of course, the last step is hit all the glass. You know, looking at the market the last couple days, guy could have easily gotten twice what I did, but that's okay. To make sure I lose even more money, I went ahead and put on some Raleigh center caps. And these are the real deal, stainless, not that cheap plastic repop stuff. Well, as you can see, the paint color didn't match perfectly, and that's pretty normal for a respray. You never really know what to actually use, but it's still 151% better. Bottom of the doors. No more rust. At least it's gonna stay down at bay for a while. Personally, I was just gonna use this thing as a commuter, being it gets such good gas mileage. I drive about an hour a day to the shop. She cleaned up real nice. Well, for the previous owner's family, I hope that in some way maybe this will give you a little closure or at least put a smile on your face. I hope that he would like to see it this way. And thank you for trusting me that I would do something good with the car. And thanks once again to Ken for recognizing the opportunity for me and bringing me in on this. And also your help and hospitality. Those Moscow mules were good. And to the new owner, I left you one more present in the cassette player, a little bit of Black Sabbath. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing. It's free. You just click the button. Thanks guys. See you next time.